We are back. Alex from Scale Swimming, our doctor, Alex from Scale Swimming, and Marcus Martall from Marcus Martall, the one who swims smoothly, glides through the water with the glide technique.
Gorgeous glide.
Thank you. Let's jump right into it. We are having a little series at the moment, where we look at the mechanics of the stroke as such, or certain things. First time we had body rotation, shoulder rotation. Next one we had head movement when breathing, or head position in the water when swimming freestyle. Last time we had the breath pocket or breath pocket or whatever pocket, like the pocket which you have when you're breathing. And today the air pocket. Okay, sorry. And then now we want to go into detail on the what's it called? On the movement as such of the arm, like let's combine all of it. Let's combine all of it, like the shoulder, body rotation. And then now I start with asking you, how would you explain a stroke, how it starts to the end?
Okay, so we're just going to talk about freestyle front crawl to start with, yes?
Yeah. Front crawl.
Okay, so what you would do is that, to start with, you're going to be piercing into the water, okay? So you got the entry. Point number one is entry. And there are a couple of errors that people make. One, they'll come and enter the water too close to the head. Some will try and reach far too far forward and splash and slap the water. Any noise like that splashes, that's resistance. That's going to slow you down, and you're not going to be hydrodynamic. So we can go into it, but you need to be entering and piercing the water at the correct distance away from your head. So the entry is point number one. Point number two is the catch / setup, okay? And again, you need to be basically, some people will be moving their wrists too much. What you want to do is have a strong wrist. So you create a big paddle. The big surface area, the paddle is going to be your hand, your wrist, and your forearm, okay? So you're going to pierce enter. You've got to reach forward and get a good distance per stroke, okay? So that's linked with what we've talked about, the body rotation and the shoulder rotation to enable you to reach forward, okay? So that's one of the second issues that people make. Once they've entered, okay, they will think, I need to pull straight away, or I need to initiate my arm stroke straight away. There's no glide, there's no distance per stroke. Okay, so you need to reach forward, glide, get a good distance per stroke. Depends on, again, there's always caveats, but it depends on how far you're swimming, how fast, what intensity. But we're just talking about the general stroke at the moment. So entry, number one. Number two is the setup of the catch. You then start your pull, okay, and you need to be pulling through the water. Again, the old school way is doing that big sweeping S. We now know that that's not as fast as a good straight through pull, okay? And then you need to push past your thigh. That's the next bit. Quite often people, once they've started their pull, they will then pull their elbows out of the water and not push past their thigh. That's where you get a big proportion of the propulsion, okay? So make sure that you push your hand. So that's the push, okay? The push past your thigh. And then you've got the over water recovery. This is where there's lots of different ways. You have a windmill straight arm. You have a high elbow recovery, okay? There are loads of different ways, depending, again, on the intensity of your swim. So whether you're doing a sprint, whether you're doing a long distance, whether you're swimming open water, whether you're swimming in the pool, all of these variations, but we're just trying to be generalizable at the moment. Then you come back over and you start again, okay? So the one point that I was going to make on when you initiate, and I was talking about that big paddle, that's when you have that kind of early vertical forearm, okay? And that's where you have your high elbow catch.
Yeah.
So I've gone through a few phases there, I think, in quite quick detail, but anything to add, or you give me your interpretation of what I've just said, or your own interpretation, totally ignoring everything that I've just said.
Well, quick is debatable, but that's another question. No, let's go back into what I have to say. Well, I'm not going to say something completely different. I just have I'm softening the blow a bit. But also try to give real life analogies to make it more understandable in terms of not having as technical, has it more also what you can think of when you're swimming through the water. So the first thing is the splashing into the water. Again, we have elite swimmers, and we have so the splashing as such can't be reduced. It's just how you pronounce your stroke as such. Like when you go into the water, the splash is not, and then you can start. What you want to do is like you want to go easy, hand loosened. You want to go into the water, so you're coming from a high, shoulder is extended to the front. You go into the water, and in front of your head, you dive into the water, and you slowly go alongside under the water to the front, parallel to the front, to get the maximum reach. And that means that the other side of the shoulder actually rotate, or the body rotates to the other side. The shoulder goes slightly back, and you try to reach to the front and get that nice little catch momentum. If you're splashing, it is not possible to get that reach because you already ultimately need to start again. That will be the first thing which I soften. After that, you need to think about reaching something out of the top shelf. So you try to want to reach something out of the top shelf. If you're flat in the water, you can't do that. You need to have the body rotation and the shoulder rotated to get that one glass which is up on the top shelf, to take it out of the shelf and actually bring it down. That will be the next one. So you can really like reach to the top, get that thing out of the water and bring it down. Or if you're climbing and you have a rope and you want to get up, you want to get a nice grab to the front, get it as high as possible, and then pull down with all your lat muscles. So that will be the high elbow catch and the setup for the high elbow catch. Next one is, which
Marcus, before you go into the next point, I'm just laughing to myself because if you grew up in England in the 80s, 90s, reaching something from the top shelf means something quite different over here.
Yeah, that is another thing. But we don't want to go into detail. Everyone has.
Sorry, everyone. Right, carry on. You're doing a great job.
We know what I mean. Let's put it that way. No, let's go back to the catch now. Most of the people, when they are in front and have extended their arm to the front, what they will do, because it's getting hard, is instead of keeping their elbow high and turn it to the top, that it face actually up out of the water, they actually let the elbow drop. And so they miss out on the stroke, because this way I can't pull water. It needs to really be that I leave the elbow high and start to push down. And so we have a proper high elbow catch with getting into water, try to get ahead of you, reach something for water, shoulders rotated, body is rotated, and then you start to move, and then obviously you start the rotation backwards of the shoulders, which is now high up, going back down. With that, you actually move your arm back, and on the other side, you actually get into the water to the front and do the whole thing again. And what happens at the end of it, you actually, like a duck, you're gonna push and finish it. As you explained before, there are a couple of things. How to recover your arm once you're out of the water. Again, you need to have to push back in the water, and then you just lift it like a crane out of the water, bring it to the front. That will be the high elbow recover. Or you swing it to the front, and that is actually swing or windmill style, which swings it to the front, and then you can do it. That would be my explanation on the whole stroke as such.
Yeah, that's good. So just to add to something that you were saying about the dropped elbow, okay, why people do that and why do people do that? It's because it's easiest, okay? It's just when you swim and you start to pull, it's, the path of least resistance. You just drop and it's easy for you to do it, okay? And then you just have to learn, once you've pierced the water and you've initiated the catch and the pull, to keep that high elbow. It's a lot harder, but by doing that and being in the right position, you're engaging all of these big muscles, your lat muscles, and you're using all of your muscles. Whereas if you just drop in, you can literally sit here and as you're watching, hold your lat. And if you drop your elbow, you're not really using it. Whereas if you pull like this and have a high elbow catch, you can feel that you're engaging your big lat muscles, and that's why it's really important. That's why you swim faster when you don't drop your elbow on the pull, because as you said, you're basically missing out a stroke by dropping your elbow.
Well, but also there is need to be an understanding. The elbow can only do this movement. Out of this movement, if this position, you cannot, what you can do, either straighten it back out, but then you're too late, or you won't suddenly miraculously turn it upside down. That is not possible. So you need to have your shoulders, which has a multi-movement joint, to actually help you with that you can actually, instead of, and it is really just this, instead of letting it drop, that the elbow, the shoulder goes down, you actually turn the shoulders so you have that movement. And so instead of your elbow facing down in the water, you're facing up in the water. That is basically the high elbow catch difference between something. Again, at the beginning, it is harmful and it costs you something, because you're engaging, first of all, your triceps, which is the strongest muscle for swimmers on the arm. So the triceps is not the biceps, it's the triceps. Biceps is just the counter muscle for us. Plus also your lat. That's why, as you said before, a lot of swimmers have this V-shape body composition in the end with their muscles. But also, it's more durable. If you use your lat, which is a bigger muscle, it has more to it, instead of using other muscles which are not really designed for that. So I guess what I want to try to say is, maybe think about this rope which you have in the water and try to pull yourself to the front, that you want to do this on that side, and then you have the dock which finishes it up. And I think that would be the whole stroke explained by both of us. And I don't know, I don't have anything to add. Do you?
One thing just to add then, I guess when you are doing your pull, once you've entered, you've initiated the catch and you're doing your pull, we've said about the dropped elbow. The other thing that some people do is just, again, point of least resistance. They'll just let their hands come under their body, like this kind of motion. You don't want to cross that line, okay? So one thing maybe people can think about and visualize is keeping their fingers pointing down to the ground, as they're swimming forward.
But there, I think we go a bit too technical. I think we also have a lot of people who listen to our starting off with swimming, and usually that movement is also a counter movement to another movement which you do wrong on the other side, because then you counterfeit the other side, right? You something you don't do right, and so you need to overcross to compensate. And usually there's that, but we want to also it's a good point. It's easier, but usually that comes when you compensate for something you do wrong on the other side, above the water, or the shoulder drops too early, and then what you need to do is bringing it together, and that's why you move in instead of staying in one line and pushing it back.
I agree, and this is why I used it as an additional point, not to what we talked about earlier.
That's good.
So those who are on a bit more of an advanced position along their swimming life, that's something else that they could then think about as well. So
that's good. The doctor has saved his input. That's good. Cheers. So I think that was it for this episode. We're gonna come up with new episodes, but for now, this is Dr. Alex from Scale Swimming, the doctor, and this is Marcus Marthaler from Marcus Marthaler. Hope you liked Let's Talk Swimming, and until next time.
See ya.
Cheers.